Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Stefani Krisdayanti from Diploma Accounting Study Program, Faculty of Economics, State University of Jakarta. And I'm going to presentation about analysis of cash flow ratio in assessing financial performance of subsector telecommunication companies in the Indonesia Stock Exchange. Chapter 1, that is introduction. There is background, formulation of the problem, and purpose and benefits of writing. Background. In Indonesia, development fast in telecommunication subsector make investors compete to invest their capital in the company. However, there is still one company in the telecommunication subsector which is experiencing problem losses during the pandemic COVID-19. For example, Smartfren Telecom. Quote from CNBC Indonesia, article title is 12 years still short Smartfren prints 1.75 billion loss. Before that, Smartfren Telecom still recorded a net loss which shows 6.7% against the 9 months of 2020 or as of September. There is 1.75 billion from the same period in 2019 of 1.64 trillion. This was continued the net loss recorded in semester 1 of 2020, 1.22 trillion, or increase of 14% from semester 1 of 2019. There is a net loss of 1.07 trillion. Smartphone Telecom almost 12 years of time, 2008, had never recorded a blue number in net profit performance. Specifically, this loss has an effect on operating activities on the cash flow. The phenomenon that often occurs at this time that investors are more likely to see the company's performance from the level of net income generated. Besides the level of net profit generated, another indicator that can be used by investors to assess the company's financial performance in the current period is the cash flow statement. Cash flow statements can help management to find out the company's financial condition, find out the company's source of income and expense, and assess financial performance. The company's difficulty in generating cash can cause the company to doubt its business sustainability, and the company may go bankrupt. This can be an indicator of how management evaluates the company's effort in achieving predetermined goals. For the investors, by looking the company's ability to generate cash or for operation activity can be consideration related to choosing what company they will to invest. The purpose of writing is for calculate the cash flow ratio of telecommunications subsector companies based on Indonesia Stock Exchange, and two, for analyze the financial performance of telecommunications subsector companies based on the Indonesia Stock Exchange based on cash flow ratio. The benefits of writing, literature benefits, can provide insight and knowledge to readers regarding to the procedure for ratio calculations and assessing the financial performance of a company, and can be a reference source for further researches who want to conduct research on cash flow ratio. And the practical benefit can help on telecommunications sector companies or other subsector companies in assessing financial performance companies with calculation cash flow ratio analysis, and hope it is useful for investors in looking at the company's financial performance for the purpose of choosing stock, knowing the prospect for profits, and guarantee investment security in the future. Chapter 2, that is theoretical study and research methodology. 1. Theoretical study, framework of thinking, and methodology of writing. 1. Financial performance. Definition is Financial performance is an assessment of the company's financial condition by using a benchmark of financial ratio, whether the company has carried out financial implementation properly in a certain period. And two, there is financial performance goals. It's knowing the company's liquidity level, knowing the level of solvency of the company, knowing the company's level of vulnerability, and knowing the level of company stability. And two, financial statements. Financial statement is a structured presentation of the financial position and financial performance of an entity and is intended to fulfill the needs of users of financial statements. Purpose of financial statements: one, provide the information about the type and amount of assets which company own at the moment, and provide the information about the type and amount of debt and equity which company at the moment. And three, provide the information about the time and amount of income earned in a certain period. And four, provide information about changes that occur to asset, liabilities, and capital company. And the last, provide the information about the company's management performance in the period. Three, there is cash flow statement. Definition is cash flow statement is a report that provides information about cash inflows and outflows during an accounting period, originating from operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities of the company. Cash flow statement is to evaluate the entity's ability to generate cash and cash equivalents, the timing and the certainty of produce it. And evaluate to entities' financial structure, including liquidity and solvency, and its ability to fulfill obligations and pay dividend. And the last, to understand the items that are different between profit and loss for the current period with net cash flow from operation activities. Three, there is classification. Operation activities contain the information about the cash inflows and outflows operational activities company. And two, investment activities contain the information that is related to inflows and outflows related to investment activities conducted by the company. And funding activities contain the information that is related to cash inflows and outflows related to financing activities obtained from external parties company. And reporting method, direct method that is consists of operating cash flow that are grouped into two categories, namely the main group of gross cash receipts and cash payment gross. And two, indirect method in which profit or loss is adjusted by correcting the effects of non-cash transactions, deferrals, or actual cash receipts, and payment for past and future operations. And four, there is cash flow ratio analysis. The benefit of this cash flow ratio analysis is to find out more about the company ability to pay for operational aspects such as paying company obligations, paying employee salaries, and paying dividends, as well as knowing the company's net profit, which can be seen from incoming and outgoing cash flow. Cash flow ratio analysis is divided into 8 types as follows. There is operating cash flow ratio, total debt ratio, cash coverage to interest ratio, fund flow coverage ratio, cash coverage ratio to current debt, free net cash flow ratio, cash flow adequacy ratio, and capital expenditure ratio. First, there is operating cash flow ratio. This ratio is useful to calculate the ability of operating cash flow to pay current liabilities. flow beside current liabilities. Description is operating cash flow is total net operating cash flow, and current liabilities is total term liabilities stored. And two, there is total debt ratio. This ratio is to analyze in the long term. The company will be able to pay its debts using cash flow generated from the company's operational activities. The formula is operating cash flow divided total liabilities. Description: operating cash flow is total net operating cash flow, and total liabilities is total short-term and long-term liabilities. 3. There is cash coverage to interest ratio. This ratio is used to determine the company's ability to pay interest on obligations that have been debt. The formula is operating cash flow plus interest plus tax divide interest. Description: operating cash flow is total net operating cash flow, interest, the total interest payments contained in the cash flow statement, and tax is total tax payments contained in the cash flow statement. And fourth, ratio fund flow coverage. This ratio is used to determine the company's ability to generate cash to pay its commitments, that is, interest, tax, and dividends. The formula is profit before interest and tax divide interest plus tax and dividend preferred. Description is profit before interest and tax is total operating profit. Interest is the total interest payments contained in the cash flow statement. Tax adjustment is total tax payments contained in the cash flow statement, and dividend preference is the total dividend preference payment. And then cash coverage ratio to current debt. This ratio is useful to measure the company's ability to pay current debt based on net operating cash flow. The formula is operating cash flow plus cash dividend divide current liabilities. And then free net cash flow ratio. This ratio is useful to measure the company's ability to meet future cash obligations future. The formula is net profit plus interest plus depreciation plus rent minus dividend minus capital expenditures divide interest plus rent and long-term liabilities. And then cash flow adequacy ratio. This ratio is used to measure how much cash from operating activities is available to meet the company's capital needs, which is capital expenditures, investment in inventory, and dividend cash. The formula is profit before interest and tax minus interest minus tax minus capital expenditures divide average current liabilities 3 years. And then the last, capital expenditure ratio. This ratio is used to measure capital available for investment and debt repayment. The formula is operating cash flow divide capital expenditures. And then there is relevant research. There is Nur Hikmah, the analysis of cash flow statements in assessing financial performance at PT Waskita Karya Persero in Makassar City. And then Kalo 2018, analysis of cash flow statements to assess financial performance of food and beverage companies listed on the Indonesia Stock Exchange. And then Warongan Ilat and Gerungai 2018 analysis of cash flow ratio in assessing financial performance at PT PLN Persero Subtenggo region. And Hadianto and Batches 2015 analysis of company performance based on cash flow statement at PT Indomobil Sukses International. And the last, Sianipar 2016 analysis of cash flow statements to assess financial performance at PT Indofood Sukses Makmur list on the Indonesia Stock Exchange. And then there is the framework of thinking. There is cash flow statements and cash flow ratio, and the cash flow, the ratio, and to in assessing performance. And then research methodology, test and 2018 to 2020 period, which consists Bakri Telkom, XL Axiata, Smartphone Telkom, yeah, and just Indo. The time of conducting the research starts from September to January 2022. Research method is quantitative descriptive. The collection technique is secondary data, and analysis technique data is looking for secondary data for research in the form of company financial statement for the 2018 to 2020 period by assessing the site, the X, Indonesia or Indonesia Stock Exchange, and then draw conclusions about the financial performance of each company based on the calculated cash flow ratio. And then chapter 3 is discussion. There is case description and case analysis. Case description. In several cases, many companies are found that often experience financial difficulties, so that they are unable to fund their operational activities or pay their debts. The company's inability to pay its short-term obligations can be caused by several factors, namely the company is unable to pay its short-term debt because the company does not have funds at all. And two, the company does not experience financial difficulty, but when there are debts that are due, the company still needs to wait to reimburse some other current assets in the cash, such as collecting accounts receivable, selling merchandise inventory, and selling some of its short-term securities. The three factors above are of course not good, because they mean that management is considered unable to optimize the use of company cash in paying its current obligations, and will also disrupt the company's business continuity, because it can cause the extract of creditors or investors to the company in the future. Difficulties in securing company cash can question business continuity and cause the company to go bankrupt. This can be an indicator of how management evaluates the company's effort to achieve predetermined goals. For investor, looking at the company's ability to generate cash for operations can be an important factor in choosing company to invest in. And then there is cash analysis. First, there is the table from operating cash flow ratio. First, there is Bakri Telecom. This is the following explanations calculation about ratio current cash operation atau EKO in Bakri Telecom. In 2018, Bakri Telecom own ratio EKO is as big as 0.03, and in 2018, Bakri Telecom own ratio EKO is as big as 0.7, where the value has decreased from 2018 as big as 0.06. In 2020, Bakri Telecom own ratio EKO is as big as minus 0.38. in where the value has decreased from 2019 as big as minus 0. Quintable 45 and decrease from 2018 of minus 0. Quintable 38. And then two, XL Axiata. The following explanations calculation about ratio current cash operations in XL Axiata. In 2018, XL Axiata on ratio KO is as big 0.59, and in 2019, XL Axiata on ratio AKO is as big as 0.58, where the value has decreased from 2018 as big as 0.1. In 2020, XL Axiata on ratio AKO is as big as 0.7, where the value has increased from 0.16 and increased from 2018 of 0.17. And next, there is smartphone telecom. This is the following explanation calculation ratio current cash operations in smartphone telecom. In 2018, smartphone telecom ratio AKO is as big as 0.15. In 2019, the ratio AKO is as big as 0.03, where the value has increased from 2018 as big as 0.18. In 2020, smartphone telecom has ratio AKO is as big as 0.17, where the value has increased from 2018 as big as 0.13 and increased from 2018 of 0.32. And next, there is Indosat. This is the following explanation calculation about ratio current cash operation in Indosat. In 2018, Indosat has own ratio AKO is as big 0.20. In 2019, the ratio AKO is as big as 0.48, where the value has increased from 2018 as big as 0.28. In 2020, has on ratio AKO 49. Value has increased from 2019 as big as 2018 of 0.19. And then there's Telekomunikasi Indonesia. This is the following explanation or calculation about the ratio current cash operation in the Indonesian telecommunications. In 2018, has on the ratio AKO is as big as 0.99, and in 2019, the ratio AKO is as big as 0.94, but the value has decreased from 2018 as big as 0.5. In 2020, is as big as 0.95, where the value has increased from 2019 as big as 0.1 and decreased is 0.4. And next is Jasnita Telkomindo. In 2019, the ratio AKO is as big as minus 0.16, and in 2019 the ratio is as big as minus 0.49, where the value has decreased from 2018 as big as minus 0.33, and in 2020 ratio is as big as minus 0.06, where the value has increased from 2019 as big as 0.43 and increased from 2018 of 0.10. And then the next there is a table for total debt ratio. First, there is the following explanation calculation about ratio total debt in Bakri Telkom. In 2018, Bakri Telkom own ratio is as big as 0.016, and in 2016 own ratio is as big as 0. Multiple 0.41, where the value has increased from 2018 as big as 0. Multiple 0.39, and in 2020 the ratio is as big as minus 0. Multiple 0.30, where the value has decreased from 2019 as big as minus 0. Multiple 0.70 and decreased from 2018 minus 0. Multiple 0.31. And then there is XL Axiata, the following explanation calculation about ratio total debt in XL Axiata. In 2018, the ratio is as big 0.24, and in 2018 the ratio is 0.28, where the value has increased from 2018 as big as 0.4, and in 2020 the ratio as big as 0.229, where the value has increased from 2018 as big as 0.1 and increased from 2018 by 0.5. And then the following explanation calculations about ratio total debt in Smartfren Telecom. In 2018, the ratio is as big 0.07, and in 2018 the ratio is 0.01, where the value has increased from 2018 as big as 0.08, and in 2020 the ratio is 0.06, where the value has increased from 2018 as big as 0.04 and increased from 2018 of 0.13. And then Indosat in 2018 the ratio is 0.10. In 2018 the ratio is 0.22, where the value has increased from 2018 as big as 0.11. In 2020 the ratio is as big 0.22, where the value is same from 2018 and increased from 2018 of 0.11. 11. And then the following explanation calculation about ratio total debt in Indonesian telecommunications. In 2018, the ratio is as big as 0.51, and 2018, the ratio is as big 0.53, where the value has increased from 2018 as big as 0.02. And in 2020, the ratio is 0.02, where the value has increased from 2019 as big as 0.001, and decreased from 2018 of 0.02. And then just Nita Telkom Indo in 2018, the ratio is minus 0.14, and 2018 is minus 0.44, but the value has decreased from 2018 as big as minus 0.30, and in 2020 the ratio as big as minus 0.006, where the value has increased from 2019 as big as 0.38, and increased from 2018 of 0.08. And then the next is cash coverage. The table for cash coverage to interest ratio. This is the full calculation about the ratio cash coverage to interest. CKB in Bakri Telecom in 2018, the ratio is 60.6, and 2019 is 69.4, but the value has increased from 2018 as big as 52.8, and in 2020 the ratio is 11.25, where the value has increased from 2019 as big as 58.15, and decreased from 2018 is 5.35. And the XL Axiata in 2018, the ratio is 12.68, and 2019 is 14.055, where the value has increased from 2018 as big as 1.87. In 2020, the ratio is 22.89, where the value has increased from 2019 is 8.34, and increase from 2018 of 10.21. And then the following statement for in smartphone telecom in 2018 is minus 0.97. In 2018 is 1.67, but the value has increased as 2.64, and in 2020 is 2.46, where the value has increased from 2019 as big as 0.079, and increased from 2018 of 343. And it in the set for 2019, the ratio is 332, and 2019 5581, where the value has increased as big as 249. And in 2020, the ratio is 576, where the value has decreased from 2018 and increased from 2018. The Indonesian telecommunication in 10, the ratio is 1692 in 2019, as big as 16.18, where the value has decreased from 2018. And in 2020, the ratio is as big 15.24, where the value has decreased from 2019 and decreased from 2018. And then Jasnita Telkomindo, in 2018, the ratio CKB is minus 672, and in 2018, the ratio is minus 88, and where the value has increased from 2018, and in 2020, the ratio is minus 3 to 9, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then next, there is the table for Funfo coverage ratio. For Bakri Telkom in 2018, the ratio is minus 213, and 2018, the ratio is minus 5401, where the value has increased from 2018. And in 2020, the ratio is minus 96.97, where the value has increased from 2019 and decreased from 2018. And then XL Asiata in 2018, the ratio is 2 to 1, and in 2018, the ratio is 3:4, where the value has increased from 2018, and in 2020, the ratio is 3.24, where the value has decreased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then Smartphone Telecom in 2018, the ratio is minus 567. In 2019, the ratio is as big as minus 838, where the value has decreased from 2018. In 2020, the ratio is as big as minus 0.77, where the value has increased from 2018 and 19 and increased from 2018. And then 2018, the ratio is as big minus 0.96, and in 2018 is where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2008. And then Indosat in 2018, the ratio is minus 0.66, and in 2019, the ratio is 0.58, where the value has increased from 2018, and in 2020 is as big as minus 0.22, where the value has decreased from 2019 and increased from 2016. 18. And then the telecommunication Indonesia in 2018, the ratio is as big 2 to 1, and in 2019, the ratio is 272, and where the value has increased from 2018, and in 2020 as big as 591, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then just need Telkom Indo, the ratio is in 2018, the ratio is 516, and in 2019 the ratio is 159, where the value has decreased from 2018, and in 2020 the ratio is minus 11 2, where the value has decreased from 2019 and decreased from 2018. Next, there is the table of cash coverage ratio to current debt. Here is Bakri Telecom. The following explanation calculation about ratio cash coverage to current debt in Bakri Telecom. In 2018, the ratio is 0 quintuple 0.3, and in 2019, the ratio is 0 point multiple 0.7, where the value has increased from 2018, and in 2020, the ratio is as big minus 0 triple 0.38, where the value has decreased from 2019 and decreased from 2018. And XL Axiata, the ratio is as big 0.59, and in 2019 the ratio is 0.58, where the value has decreased from 2018, and in 2020 the ratio is 0.075, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then Smartphone Telkom in 2018, the ratio is minus 0.15, and in 2019, the ratio is 0.03, where the value has increased from 2018, and in 2020, the ratio is 0.017, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then Indosat, in 2018, the ratio is 0.22, and in 2019, the ratio is 0.48, where the value has increased from 2018, and in 2020, the ratio is 0.49, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then next, there is telecommunication in Indonesia. In 2018, the ratio is 156, and in 2019, the ratio is 138, where the value has decreased from 2018, and in 2020, the ratio is 1.28, where the value has decreased from 2019 and decreased from 2018. And then just need Telkom Indo in 2018 is the ratio is minus 0.16, and in 2019 the ratio is minus 0.49, where the value has increased from 2018. And in 2020, the ratio is minus 0.06, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then there is the table of free net cash flow ratio. The first, Bakri Telkom, this is the following explanation calculation about ratio net interest cash flow in Bakri Telkom. In 2018, the ratio is minus 119, and in 2019, the ratio is 1330, where the value has increased from 2018. And in 2020, the ratio is minus 10.4, where the value has decreased from 2019 and decreased from 2018. And then XL Axiata in 2018, the ratio is minus 0.36, and in 2019, the ratio is 0.32, where the value has increased from 2018. And in 2020, the ratio is 0.23, where the value has decreased from 2019 and increased from 2019. 18. Then smartphone Telkom Tbk in 2018, the ratio is minus 0.43. In 2019, the ratio is 0.32, where the value has increased from 2018. And in 2020, the ratio is minus 0.006, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then Indosat in 2019, the ratio is minus 0.26, and in 2019, the ratio is 0.22, where the value has increased from 2018, and in 2020, the ratio is minus 0.18, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then Telekomunikasi Indonesia in 2018, the ratio is 0.59. In 2019, the ratio is 0.36, where the value has increased from 2018. And then in 2020, the ratio is 0.28, where the value has decreased from 2019 and decreased from 2018. And then Jasnita, in 2018, the ratio is 4.20, and in 2019, the ratio is 3.35, where the value has decreased from 2018. In 2020, the ratio is minus 2.68, where the value has decreased from 2019 and decreased from 2018. And then next, there is the table for cash flow adequacy ratio. This is the following explanation of cash flow in Bakri Telkom. And then in 2018, the Bakri Telkom has ratio as minus 0.0041, and in 2018, the ratio is minus 0.0025, where the value has increased from 2018. And in 2020, the ratio is minus 0.0018, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then XL Axiata in 2018, the ratio is minus 0.31. In 2018, the ratio is minus 0.39, where the value has decreased from 2019. And in 2020, the ratio is minus 0.32, where the value has increased from 2019 and decreased from 2018. And then Smartphone Telkom in 2018, the ratio is minus 0.76. In 2019, the ratio is minus 0.62, where the value has increased from 2018. And then in 2020, the ratio is minus 0.46, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then Indosat in 2018, the ratio is minus 0.58. In 2019, the ratio is minus 0.559, where the value has decreased from 2018. In 2020, the ratio is minus 0.48, where the value has increased from 2019. Next, there is telecommunication Indonesia. In 2018, the ratio is minus 0.23, and in 2019, the ratio is minus 0.17, where the value has increased from 2018, and in 2020, the ratio is 0.11, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then Jasnita Telkomindo in 2018, the ratio is minus 241, and in 2019, the ratio is minus 0.75, where the value has increased from 2018, and then in 2020, the ratio is minus 0.01, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then the table for capital expenditure ratio. First, this is the following explanation calculation about ratio capital expenditure in Bakri Telkom. In 2018, the ratio is 0.41. In 2019, the ratio is 11.30, and where the value has increased from 2018, and in 2020, the ratio is minus 275, where the value has decreased from 2019 and decreased from 2018. And then XL Axiata, in 2018, the ratio is 149, and 2019 is 136, where the value has decreased from 2018, and in 2020, the ratio is 180, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then Smartphone Telkom in 2018, ratio is minus 0.68, and in 2019, the ratio is 0.14, where the value has increased from 2018. And in 2020, the ratio is 1.19, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then Indosat, in 2018, the ratio is 0.76. In 2019, the ratio is 1, where the value has increased from 2018. And in 2020, the ratio is 1.50, where the value has increased from 2019 and increased from 2018. And then telecommunication Indonesia, in 2018, the ratio is 1.45. In 2019, the ratio is 1.56, where the value has decreased from 2018. And in 2020, the ratio is 2.21, where the value has increased from 2019 and decreased from 2018. And the last, Jasnita Telkomindo, in 2018, the ratio is minus 0.20, and in 2019, the ratio is minus 1.09, where the value has decreased from 2018. And in 2020, the ratio is minus 522, where the value has decreased from 2019 and decreased from 2018. And then the conclusion, based on the results of the analysis and discussion that has been described by the author, it can be conclude several things as follows. The result is obtained from the calculation of a cash flow ratio that the financial performance of Bakri Telecom for the 2018 to 2020 period is declared unfavorable because 6 of the egg ratio show ratio value below 1, which means the company is not good at managing cash flow his company. And the result is obtained from the calculation of a cash flow ratio states that the financial performance of XL Axiata for the 2018 to 2020 period is declared unfavorable because 5 of the egg ratio show a ratio value below 1, which means the company is not good at managing cash flow. And the result for smartphone for the 2018 to 2020 period was declared unfavorable because 7 of the egg ratio show a ratio value below 1, which means the company is not good at managing cash flow. And then the result for financial performance of Indosat is declared unfavorable because 6 of the egg ratios show a ratio value below 1, which means the company is not good at managing his company cash flow. And then the result for financial performance of Telekomunikasi Indonesia period is it show that 4 of the egg ratio show a ratio value above 1, and when viewed from the operating cash flow every year, it has increased and generates profits every year. So which means the company is able to manage his cash flow company. And then the result for financial performance of Jasnika Telkom Indo is declared unfavorable because 5 of the egg ratio show a ratio value below 1, which means the company is not good at managing his cash flow. And from all the results of the calculation of the company's financial performance for 2018 to 2020 research year using the cash flow ratio, it can be concluded that there are 5 companies whose performance is declared unfavorable, including Bakri Telecom, XL Axiata, Smartphone Telecom, Indosat, and Jasnika Telkom Indo. Meanwhile, the company whose performance is declared good is Telekomunikasi Indonesia. And then there is suggestion for company subsector telecommunication. It is suggested that the company can increase sales so as to generate a larger net profit can make the company's operating cash flow increase every year, and recommended so that the company should manage its debt so that there is no increase in borrowing because liabilities that are too large and are not accompanied by an increase in operating cash flow will cause the company to be unable to pay obligation in the future. And then for the research next, it is hoped that further researchers will prepare an earlier time so that they can defend their knowledge and understanding of current ratio analysis tasks. Expected further researchers can add reference related to cash flow ratio analysis in detail in order to produce good research. So that is for me. Thank you.